Outlaw Lawyer.
Welcome back into the Outlaw Lawyer. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners and practicing attorneys here in North Carolina, managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. Between Josh and Joe, 46 combined years experience, offices in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, and Gastonia. If you've got your own legal situation that you're dealing with and you've got questions, we've got a number for you, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. You can also email your questions to questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. And on the call, just leave your information, contact information, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. So, gentlemen, take it away.
I want to know who has the license plate McBoob.
We're going to bring him on the show.
I feel like
you're going to bid on it?
Yeah, I feel like we should nickname somebody at the front. That's just a
McBoob.
Good fraternity style.
Yeah, I'm not going to name a kid, and that's not going to be a kid's nickname, but definitely someone at the front.
Yeah, Beans is
sure.
good for the kid.
Beans is good for the kid. McBoob, we just give it to our least favorite employee.
All right, so this segment, so Pennsylvania v. Cosby, and we've talked about this before, and how much I love Bill Cosby, and that I won't let cancel culture take Bill Cosby away from me, and we separate Bill Cosby, his art, from his, what he's accused of. Now, well, tell us a little bit about what happened, Joe.
Yeah, so again, Josh, like you said, we did a deep dive on this. We did like a whole entire episode. And basically, in Pennsylvania v. Cosby, what we had is you had justices that they rebuffed a request from the Pennsylvania prosecutors that were trying to revive sexual assault charges against Cosby. Tons of allegations against Cosby, but at issue specifically in this case, you had Cosby being convicted of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault for the 2004 drugging and molesting of Andrea Constand was her name. But basically, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court threw out Cosby's conviction. They reasoned that he had relied on a 2005 press release in which a prosecutor who had cited a lack of sufficient evidence had declined to file charges. And so based on that statement, Cosby had gone on to provide evidence in a civil lawsuit that was brought against him by Constand under the assumption and the agreement that there wouldn't be criminal charges filed against him. And then that testimony and some of those things that he said under that understanding actually were used against him later on. And that was kind of the crux of the issue here.
Yeah, and for me as an attorney, we talk about why we do this show, why we do the Outlaw Lawyer, and it's to take items like this and kind of look at them like an attorney would be. Like if this came into my office, how I would dice up the facts and what I would advise. And so here this seems obvious to me, and it doesn't even get to what Cosby may or may not have done. If Cosby did this stuff, that's terrible. But Cosby had and whether you agree with this or not, Bill Cosby had an agreement with the DA, with the prosecutors, that he would not be charged with this crime, and relied on it for the civil case, right? And there was a civil settlement, and there was a deposition, all this stuff was under seal. And so Cosby would not have done this had it not been for this agreement, right, Joe? And the new DA, the new prosecutor came in, 10 years later? I don't remember how much time had passed, but just said, yeah, I know that agreement's in place. I don't care. We're charging you with this crime. And that's where it should have stopped. Like, I think someone should have stepped in then, like say, hey, we're wasting a lot of taxpayer money. This is gonna fail at some point. But there was there's this big swoon to punish him for, again, vile acts if they're true.
Sure.
And of course there was a trial. Bill Cosby spent 2 years in jail, I think, 2 years in jail.
2 or 3, I think it was 3, but I again.
And then it went to the next level in the court system, and they were instantly overturned it. Like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
This violates constitutional protections. No one made you agree not to prosecute him. You could have done it then, and threw it out. And then the state kept fighting it. I don't understand why Pennsylvania kept. That's what I would like. I would like someone to go. I don't know if it was the AG or the DA's office. I don't know who in Pennsylvania kind of kept pushing it forward to the U.S. Supreme Court, because that's who did it, and the U.S. Supreme Court swatted it down really quick. I was like, yeah, you can't do this. Yeah. I almost feel like somebody should be criminally liable or civilly liable in Pennsylvania for continuing to push it forward, because it just seems like a slam dunk to me. I don't get it.
And my assumption, you asked the question of like who did it and like why, and it's tough, man, because like you said, if you take the allegations as true, like it's terrible. Like the things he did are terrible. He should be punished for those things. So I don't want anyone to get confused and think we're advocating like go Bill Cosby. Like this was fantastic what you did. That's not the point. I mean, no one agrees with what he allegedly did, but I think everybody agrees with the Constitution, the way that it's treated, those protections. And they're necessary, man. You know, they're necessary. And so, and they're a good, they're a good thing. Like they have purpose. Would you agree? Like the agreement to not prosecute, to bring some of these things out, it's necessary to the way that the system functions. And so it's important that we protect that.
Yeah. When you start studying criminal law, on like a law school level or a master's level, and you start reading all these criminal law cases, the defendant has always done something or been accused of something horrible. And a lot of times they may have even confessed to it, admitted to it. And these are horrible. I mean, rape, hurting children, just the worst of the worst kind of things that have happened. But somewhere along the line, the system has violated their constitutional rights to get to the end game, I guess, to get to a conviction or what have you. And so a lot of times these folks will get off, and you'll hear them talk in the media. They get off on a technicality, or this child murderer got off on a technicality. But those technicalities are technicalities because they're important.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah,
it's not that's the fault of the system. The failure to do whatever was necessary. There are protections, like you said. They are there for a reason. And nobody wants to see justice not be done. No one wants to see people who've done terrible things walk free. But no one wants to see people who've done nothing be punished for it. And it's a balance for that reason.
One day, we'll have to spend some time talking about it. In that same vein, one thing that was disturbing to me, again, we stay real apolitical here. We don't really talk about Republicans. We don't talk about Democrats. But just observing legal things that happen, if you followed the presidency of Donald Trump, there at the end, he had hired all these attorneys to represent him on whatever, falsified votes or, whatever was going on. And so he retained attorneys, and attorneys made filings on his behalf, I guess Giuliani and I can't remember that other lady's name. But, they're in the process of, their local bars are trying to disbar them, keep them from practicing law. And I don't know all the facts. That's why we need to do a deep dive. But people will ask me, if would your firm have represented Bill Cosby if he had been accused of these horrible things? And I always tell people, like, yes, everybody deserves a defense. No matter how despicable you think the actions are, no matter how despicable you think the person is, everyone deserves a defense attorney, a defense. And I think that's hard for people who don't practice law, for people who don't spend a lot of time talking about the law. I think that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of folks. But otherwise, we don't really have a justice system. We just have like a railroad.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
right. And just to jump in, guys, I mean, you guys are immersed in it every single day, and you think about this Cosby situation, and it's the shiny object. I mean, somebody wants to push that shiny object because everybody knew him on TV, and you're going to get a lot of attention if you push that particular issue that involves Bill Cosby, who everybody knows.
Yeah.
So, that we can't get in the minds of the people that are putting it back out there, but I can kind of see why, hey, that's Bill Cosby. And
yeah.
So, but from a legal standpoint, you guys do it every single day.
I really hope, and I don't know if Cosby's got enough energy and enough money, because Cosby's in his 80s. Is that right? I mean, he's early 80s.
And if you see him now, man, like
he doesn't look
took
good.
A lot out of him. Like you can tell, like he's not the same. Man.
Yeah, his eyes he's got something going on with his eyes, and he's got the cane, and he's struggling to get around. But I hope, man, I would love to see someone hold whoever's liable, Attorney General, DA, whoever in Pennsylvania, because that's a waste of taxpayer. To me, it just seems open and shut. Like we talked 1 week about one of the things you have to have as an attorney to push things forward, to litigate, is you have to have a controversy, right? And I don't know there was ever any controversy here. I don't know.
It's a lot of political pressure, man. I think Morgan said it best. It's the shiny object. There's a ton of political pressure. You've got cancel culture. I'm with you. Like, these people, they have law degrees. They've practiced law. They understand the law. And, it should be obvious that there's nothing here. And I'm with you on that completely.
And I haven't heard a lot on that. That's just been my personal thoughts. So maybe there's something else out there, which is why there's not a national discussion. But if you don't have these protections, if you don't have this counterweight, then people get swept up in emotion. People get swept up in the horrible facts. If taken to be true, people get consumed by that. But this should have never gotten this far.
Sure.
Or he should have been charged in 1982 or whenever all this.
Yeah, exactly. Charge him then. That's a great point, man. Because we're not saying don't charge him. That's not the point at all. If he charge him, but don't handle it this way and tell him you're not going to charge him. Solicit, statements for a civil purpose, and then come back and try to do it then. Yeah. Because it's a slippery slope, man. We say it all the time, and that can be, you set the precedent that that's okay. It can get used, in a similar fact pattern where, like you said, people get railroaded by it.
I was going to say, is it fair to say that Cosby will come back? We'll do a deep dive on because it's probably going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I think that could be. I think that could be fair to say. Yeah.
I wanted to point out, before I went to law school, I never said slippery slope.
Say it all the time.
I say it like 3 times
10
a day.
times a day, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope.
It's a crutch.
I could give you that snack, Charlie, but it's a slippery,
It's a slippery slope.
I don't want to set a precedent.
You'll be addicted to Pop-Tarts like me for several years.
A show on Pop-Tarts, that might be good.
Yeah.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, the power behind this program. They're the managing partners there. They're practicing attorneys here in the great state of North Carolina. They've got offices in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, and Gastonia, and they've got 46 combined years experience. We know that there are probably some of you out there that are having your own legal situation. You've got questions. Well, we've got a phone number for you, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Just leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. You can also email your questions to the program, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com, and we certainly want you to visit the website, theoutlawlawyer.com. We're back with a little bit more after this. It's New York Times article on Roe versus Wade.